Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Krishna Shiva Creations. In this series of illuminating text, I will guide you through the complete process of measurement system analysis. Complete course shall be covered and published in 4 phases. Till now, we have covered the first 2 phases, that is MSA definition and MSA parameters. From the last video, we have started the third phase, that is MSA tools and methods. If you have not watched the video, links are given in the below description. Please watch. So in this video, we will start with the second part of the third phase. So let's get started. In the last video, we have seen that there are 6 MSA tools for the variable data, and we have also understood that there are majorly 4 tools which cater maximum requirement of the gauge study for the MSA and improvement of the measurement system. So in the last video, we have completed the first 3 tools, that is the stability study, bias study and the linearity study. In this video, we will understand the GRR study, that is gauge repeatability and reproducibility study. By far, this is the most extensively used and practiced tool for doing the measurement system analysis and understanding the measurement system variation and reducing it. So let's get started with the GRR study. Now for doing the GRR study, first of all, as we know, we have to select a gauge for which the study is to be performed. The gauge should be calibrated and 10 samples has to be selected. After that, we need to select 3 appraisers. The appraisers should be, the actual users of the instrument who are doing the measurement daily. Then we have to decide the parameter on which we have to do the measurement study. For the OD or the length, whatever it is, we have to select that. Then the first appraiser should measure all the 10 samples. The sequence should be like that. Then the second appraiser should take the measurement, and the third appraiser then comes to take the measurement of the 10 samples. Now these steps, we have to repeat it for 3 times. Now let us see what is the detailed process. We'll see through an animation. Now herein we see there are 3 appraisers and there are 10 samples. These are the appraiser 1, appraiser 2 and appraiser 3. So appraiser 1 goes, does the measurement of the 10 samples, comes back, and appraiser 2 then does the measurement of the 10 samples. We notice here that the parts are coming in a random manner. So measurement has to be done in the random fashion. And observer, here is the observer, he should note all the readings, and the reading should not be visible to the appraiser while they are taking the measurement. So this completes one process, and this trial is done for 3 times. Now total we will get 90 readings. After this, we will have to calculate the data and finally compute R double bar. Using that R bar A, RB bar and RC bar divided by 3. That is the average of range, average of range. RA bar is the average of range of A. Now this range is called R double bar. Now after that, we have to calculate the upper control limit for the range, which is used by this formula, where D4 is the constant and is given by 2.58 for 3 trials. We are doing 3 trials. Then we have to plot the ranges of the 10 parts of each appraiser in the range chart, and we have to interpret the range chart. How we have to interpret? Let us see. Now this is how the range chart looks. Here we are plotting the range of 3 appraisers determined by the 3 colors, the blue, the green and the pink. And this red line is the upper control limit that we have calculated in the last slide. So for 10 samples, 1 to 10, all the ranges of different appraisers are plotted in this graph. How to interpret the range chart? Let us understand the different case scenarios wherein we will understand. First case is all the points are within the control limit. The upper control limit that we have calculated and drawn in the range chart, all the points are observed within the limit. This means there our measurement process is stable and there is no special cause. Now in the third case, 1 or 2 points are out of the control limit. In this case, if 1 or 2 points are out, this indicates that there is some special cause which need to be taken care of, corrections need to be done, and or if there is some special cause, we can remove it and take the readings again also. Now in the third point, we see several points of CM appraiser out. See, there are Mahato is the green in this case. So there are 3 points out of 10 which are observed out of the control limit. This indicates their operator inconsistency. Okay, the operator's process is not consistent. Now this is again one another case wherein the reading ranges of only a single part, in this case the 7th part, are outside the control limit every time for all the appraisers. So this indicates there is a part variation. So in that case we have to remove that part from the study and we have to bring in another part to do the study. So this shows a part variation, high part variation within the part. Now this is another case wherein more readings are outside the control limit of all the appraisers. Okay, in the previous case we saw the appraiser for single out within for the single appraiser. This is for the single part, but here all are mixed. All appraisers are out for all the parts. So in this case, this indicates it is a sensitive measurement. The measurement is sensitive. So these are the 5 cases we come across while doing the MSc GRR study and interpreting the range chart. So this is how we should interpret the range chart and come to a meaningful conclusions. Now after doing the range chart, we move on to the next part of the GRR study, that is the average chart. Now for average chart we need to calculate the average and then we have to calculate the average of average, that is X double bar. For average of range, that is R double bar. Now this is X double bar. Now for average chart we have to calculate the upper and lower control limit using this formula where A2 is constant and is given by number of trials. Then we have to plot the average chart, and average chart needs to be plotted for all the 10 parts of all appraisers. Now X double bar that we have calculated should be the mean, and control limits upper and lower should be plotted, and then we have to interpret the average chart. Let us see how we should interpret it. Now this is how the average chart looks. Okay, there are 3 appraisers and there are 10 parts 1 to 10, and the readings and the average are plotted, okay, for 3 appraisers. Now how to interpret the average chart? As we have seen the interpretation of the range chart, similarly there are cases which come across while doing the average chart. First case is more than 50% points outside the control limits. This indicates measurement system is capable to detect the part-to-part variation. So herein we see that the control limits are so much close that most of the readings, more than 50% of the readings is significance, should be out of the control limit. This will indicate that yes, our measurement system is capable. Okay. Now this is the opposite case scenario where less than 50% points are outside control limit. See here the control limits has widened, so most of the the readings has come within the control limit. Now this is the case wherein it indicates that measurement system is not capable to detect the part-to-part variation. So we need to do some improvement for the measurement system so that it can be able to detect the part-to-part variation. Now this is the third case where all points of one appraiser above the average line indicate different method of the appraiser. See the blue line of Vinod here are out of the control limit. This indicates that that particular appraiser, in this case Vinod, has a different measurement process. So that needs to be standardized and the study needs to be performed again. So these are the three cases wherein we understand how to interpret the average chart and come to a actionable point so that we can do the measurements and perform the measurement as per the requirement. Now after understanding the average chart, then we move forward and calculate the EV, that is equipment variation or repeatability. EV is given by this formula R double by bar into K1, where K1 is again a constant and given this value is given for 3 trials. Okay, after calculating the EV, we have to calculate the X reference bar. After calculating the X reference bar, we will calculate the AV, that is the appraiser variation or the reproducibility. This is given by this formula. Okay, after calculating EV and AV, we finally calculate GRR using this formula. GRR equal to root over EV square plus AV square. Okay, now this ultimately gives us the GRR value. Now what to do with the GRR value? Let us see. After this, we have to calculate the average of each part. For each part, the 1 to 10, we have to calculate the average and we have to calculate the range of each part and we will call it as RP. After doing this, we will calculate the part variation using this formula. Okay, because as we remember, part variation is required because we have to finally compute the total variation. Now this total variation, TV is equal to root over GRR square plus PV square. PV is the part variation, GRR is the gauge repeatability and reproducibility. Now this we have calculated in the last slide and this gives the total variation. Now after calculating this, we finally have to calculate the percentage variance of the EV, the appraiser equipment variation, appraiser variation, the percentage GRR and the percentage part variation, all with respect to the total variation. So finally we conclude with this percentage. Now what are the interpretations and how we need to conclude? We will come up into the next slide. We also calculate the number of distinct data categories, which shows how much distinct data categories are present within the data that we have collected. Generally NDC should be more than 5. More than or equal to 5 is the acceptable value of NDC. We also calculate that. Now let us see how to interpret the GRR results. Now GRR, we have calculated the percent. First of all, if the GRR's percent is less than 10%, then the GRR is acceptable. Represents a control measurement system. MS is measurement system. So GRR should be less than 10% of the total variation. Okay, TV. Now if it is not so, okay, the next is 10 to 30%. If GRR is between 10% to 30% of the total variation, then we call it as GRR is conditionally acceptable. And it indicates there are minor maintenance is required for the measurement system. Some of the improvement is required on the basis of the average chart or the range chart or the repeatability or reproducibility. That we have to drill down as we have seen in the previous slide. After seeing this, this is the final result that we are interpreting. And if it is more than 30%, then GRR is not acceptable. Okay, measurement system needs a major improvement. So we have to, in this case, suppose if we find that GRR is more than 30%, then in that case we have to calculate, do the study again and finally redo everything after taking the actions. Okay, so this is what the interpretation is all about. Now what are the interpretations of R&R, repeatability and reproducibility? If repeatability is more than reproducibility, that is EV, equipment variation, is more than the appraiser variation, that means it is clearly understood that some actions need to be taken on the equipment. Now what improvement needs to be maintenance or repair? Okay, maybe we are not using the correct equipment or instrument or gauge, whatever it is, and we are also improve the clamping or location of gauging. to get a standard process and reduce the equipment variation or the gauge variation. Now, if on the contrary, if reproducibility is more than the repeatability, that is appraiser variation due to appraiser is more than the variation due to equipment, then in that case appraiser need to be trained. Okay, appraiser need to be trained, and the measurement process need to be more robust, or in that case, if the measurement is sensitive, then we have to do some automation or poka-yoke to reduce the human effect. So these are the interpretations or actions that we can take from understanding the repeatability and reproducibility values. Now there are a set of guidelines we need to follow during the GRR study to get the most benefit out of it, so we can get the actual case where what needs to be done. So selected parts or sample should be the actual production part. It should not be like that some best parts we have selected and kept to do the MSA study. It should not be like that. We should use the parts from the actual production parts, and it should represent the expected range of variation. It should not be a continuous selection. It should interpret the whole variation within the process. Now appraiser should be those who actually do the measurement. It should not be that MSA has to be done with the skilled operator only. Okay, somebody is doing the measurement in the line on daily basis while doing the MSA. A skilled operator comes in and does the MSA study. The case should not be like that. We should use the appraisers who are actually doing the measurement on daily basis. Measurement should be done in a random manner, as we have seen in the previous slide, wherein the number should not be visible to the appraisers and it should be in the random manner for all the appraisers. Now this point is numbering on the samples and the readings should not be visible to the appraiser. Why? Because appraiser, if they see the readings, they may recall the readings and get biased of their previous reading. Okay, so that should not be the case. The observer who is noting the reading should be not be sharing the data with the appraisers who are conducting the studies. After this, we have to understand that gauge and instrument should be selected which are actually used for the inspection of the production parts, and it should be calibrated. First of all, the gauge has to be calibrated. That is a very important point. The calibrated gauge should be used for the MSA study, and gauge or instrument selected should be used in it should not be like we are keeping some instrument specially for the MSA study. While doing the MSA, we are taking out that gauge and doing the MSA study and not using that gauge in the production line. That should not be the case. That will not serve the purpose of doing the study and taking the actions. And measurement should be done in the regular process of measurement. Okay, it should not be that for MSA you are doing more cautiously and you are following the SOP very strictly. It should always, we should follow the SOP to build in the SOP within the blood. It should not be like MSA has to be done something differently. MSA should be done in the process we are doing in the regular basis. Now comes a point that if we want to calculate the GRR with respect to tolerance in replacing the total variation, then in place of total variation that we have calculated, the USL minus LSL divided by 6, this value should be put. Okay, suppose the USL is 10 and LSL is 4, then USL minus LSL is 6 and 6 by 6 is 1. So this value should be put in the formula where we calculate the percentage GRR. So these are the guidelines we have to remember, and then only we can achieve what we are looking forward for actual MSA and improving our measurement system as far as possible and reduce the measurement system variation. So that's all for this video. We have understood how GRS studies should be done, what are the guidelines, how it should be interpreted. If you have any queries, please let me know in the comment section below. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can also clarify. So thanks a lot for watching. Lastly, thanks a lot for watching again. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button. That makes a lot of difference. Thank you. And also hit the notification bell to get notified about my upcoming videos that I will be coming up. In the next video, we will be covering the MSA tools for the attributes also. See you in the next video. Till then, keep smiling and take care.